Alrighty, we are live again. Here's some blender work. We're gonna spend the day or the evening kind of looking through YouTube articles and everything that we kind of need to get the assets kind of fixed up. I had a guide I was watching. I figured, what's there add-on? Is there an add-on for literally going from A pose to T pose? Yeah, duplicate the armature, disable the copy, raise the arm. So this is kind of what I was doing. And then apply the active armature modifier, which makes the object's T-pose definitive. And what was the issue? There was something wrong about it. I feel like there's got to be an add-on for this. A tool designed to shorten steps needed to import and optimize models into VR chat compatible models. Mix Modaz, Browser, Bringify, same as Social Builder. Yeah, I think I'll follow the same steps that I did last time.
Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to change the rest position of your character imported from Examo. So I imported this character from Examo in T-pose.
Hey Merrick,
if you
how's it
select
going?
the rest position, you can see that it's in A pose. So to set this T-pose as the default rest pose, first of all you select the armature, delete any keyframe you have here.
Yeah, let's go to Mixer and grab the default T-pose that we're actually going to be targeting. We're doing crazy rigging things today. I'm gonna try to fix the male character. How's your day going? Yeah, alright. So this is going to be the Master Miximo pose. Defined. So in our assets, models, characters, let's do. We create what's called a Genesis folder, and we're going to do xbot t pose. So this is the ultimate. And we'll go into our viewport and show in front. So this, all Adobe Mixamo animations are pretty much this. This is their target. I never really understand why there's a top head and there's bones that are like really weird in Mixamo. There's head, neck, spine 2, 1, spine, hips, for leg right. And there's no IK points. And I don't think xbot I just pick the characters, maybe no. Yeah, I guess xbot female is probably fine. Can't see or we can actually change. Yeah, where do we change the model? I'm gonna reload it because Firefox is being weird. Yeah, where's the male version of xbot? Or I guess I just clear the character. Yeah, it's really weird. I can't just pick the other version of this. There's a mannequin. Generic mannequin's actually not a bad yeah, like generic mannequin in T-pose. I'll grab him as well. It's been a while since I could log on. How goes the game? Pretty good. I got an interesting opportunity presented to me today that I'm gonna mull over and probably consider, but I'll chat more about about that personally. But it's a development gig pretty much. Let me. I want to show you some of the stuff here that kind of works here multiplayer. What I've been actually working on this week, Omener, is redoing a lot of the ship. So I need to make a trailer for November the 1st. So what I need to have happen for then is like all of the details of the undercarriage to be like completely fleshed out. And all the panels working. So I want to actually put all the latches and, for opening panels, closing, like little kind of hydraulic kind of doors to kind of bring things out. Same thing with like with the sides for pulling off all the, the fuel and everything. So I've been really trying to kind of go through the ship. And then what I've been working on, lately is actually getting the landing gear actually working in a way that makes sense for I still want to change the landing gear, but I want to have something that was going to be like that could come down tall enough to bring the ship up to eye level. So you're at like a 2-meter mark. So when you're actually like let's say you don't want to go in the hangar. And have to like work on having to put the ship up suspended, you can actually just do it on land. So by default, when the ship is generally landed, the landing gear only needs to extend for like this, just so it's just level, just so you can load up. You don't really need it to be more than this. But then when you want to do work on the ship itself, I want it to be able to kind of extend, like bad example, but like all the way down to the, all the way down to this 2-meter mark. So that's what I've been working on with the ship over the last few days. Is getting in all the little cutouts and panels so that it's nice and clean. And then on the system side, there's a lot more that's been working as far as like multiplayer goes. So it's just getting a playable world that I can get people in and fleshing out. So the final thing, well, I had to redo the asteroid system that I was working on, and I'll show you here the multiplayer. So we did a bunch of work on the NPC pathfinding and even the looks of the game. So this is just a test build. I'm going to host as a server. There's 100 NPCs here, but they're now going to be like following along a path. And I'll join in here as all my nerves. And we'll give all my nerves maybe a Twitch purple. I guess like a Twitch purple. Good. Yeah, so there's all my nerves, and everything is all working. The IK is working, of course. You know, projectiles are working, and this is all fine and dandy. So I'm going to bring all my nerves over here, spawning all my nerves a ship, and NPCs are not elevators going to pass through it right now. They're ignoring any other collisions, but alright, so all this is kind of working. I'm gonna push the ship around, jump in, interact with seats. You can see you're in the cockpit. All the weapons are now working in multiplayer, so you can see right all the gimbals and everything are good, and I can kind of take off, head over to the planet. So warp is now working in the game since last showed you, and we now have planetary gravity working. I don't have wait, is there an outpost? I don't think I put an outpost. Yeah, I should put the outpost actually on this build. These are quite small, but you know. We'll touch down and jump out. So like here I am on a full gravity volume. I can run around the planet, and if I go visit you as an example, got thrust limiting and everything working now. I can like limit my thrust, kind of take off more gracefully. I gotta try to see what side of the surface you're on. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Alright, there we are. Oh. Right, so there is you, there's the player. Right, so I'm now like here on the gravity volume with you. And right, everything's all working. Kind of sliding all over the place. He said it's kind of, but you know, it's working. Gravity's working. So yeah, it's been a bit on my nerves, but this has been the you know, it's always progressing. You know, I'm always working on it. I'm always getting things working. And big thing now is getting like the NPCs spawning in their own ships. On the main project, I got the buggy in the game. Like lighting has been improved. Is there a good physics in Godot engine or need custom solution? Look up Jolt for Godot. Jolt is the physics engine created by Horizon Zero Dawn developers. They made it fully open source. There's a few demo projects. So I got the buggy in. And the ships are all in. And if we go and take over the camera here. Where's the buggy? Alright, so there I am in the buggy. Right, so all the buggy wheels and everything are working. Added like a little light to it. Yeah. I just got out and knocked over the buggy. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. So now I need to actually go through and figure out the armature issues that I'm having. But the answer is there a good physics engine in Godot with Jolt? Yes. Some of the Jolt examples, I compiled a bunch of them a while back. Right, this is the Jolt physics engine, created by Horizon Zero West developers, and they have in here in the sample videos, and it's really does have a lot of great stuff. Right, there's 150 ragdolls. Right, now is it as good as Havoc and other middleware solutions that you have to pay for? Probably not. But does it work well? Yeah, I'd say. There was a really good custom gravity overrides. This is the kind of stuff that I'm into. Right, here's players on a planet. So there's yeah, Jolt's great. So hopefully that's a little bit of insight for you, Mirek. What was the other one that was a good example? The vehicle demo, maybe? Nah. Although the tank demo was pretty cool. But definitely look into it. Yeah, I wanted to get that mail, the default Xbot mail, but like this one, it's funny because like maybe if we don't select a character at all, only if we clear the character, will we get the yeah, just how do we do that? How do we like remove, how do we like deselect a character? We don't want to use a character anymore. Wait, we can pick different characters. Yeah, we could pick like a generic guy that's really close, or closer to my own armature than what, but it doesn't really matter. Ooh, what is this dummy character? What about this thing? Oh, there's the male. What's he called? Ybot. Duh. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, because I just want Ybot in T-pose. Perfect. And then we'll get both of those into Blender. Yeah, so that'll be Xbot T-pose, and then we'll just do a new. And then we'll do Ybot. Perfect. All right, so now we have Ybot. Nice, thanks. Yeah, no problem. So we have Ybot in Blender, marked as an asset. And Xbot. Because I want to get organized. I have an idea of what I want to do. Like, I want to go in and kind of create standardized armature that matches specifically exactly to the different skeletons for the animations, and hopefully then we can use different reference typos for the animation. So when I'm bringing in XMO animations, we retarget it, but we retarget it to this space reference. And then my hope is that my A-pose models will end up kind of matching the, you know, everything, right? Because like the difference really between my own models and this one is literally this, you know, 45 degrees. But there's a lot of weighted stuff that need to be like kind of remapped. So let's go, now that we have these marked, Xbot and Ybot. I have a feeling we're not going to be able to fix the male. We're going to have to really just probably re-import the male and redo the armature. Alright, so the male. Because the issue, gotta get rid of this animation data. Could nuke the armature and redo the armature. Yeah, well, let's go back. That scale. Yeah, I don't know why is it's like at one point he must have been rotated. Yeah, so these are like semi-Mixamo-ish. I don't know why all transforms fail. Like why they end up no. It's poorly done. I'm gonna redo it. I'm gonna re-import them again. And then what we'll do when we're doing it this time around is we won't worry about the materials working in Godot. We'll just get him in and get his meshes reweighed and the armature copied, and we'll just get it working. And then I'm hoping if the material names are still the same as when I exported them the first time, when I bring them in the Godot, everything will map. We'll see. So I want these. I remember on the import there was something that fixes the bone. Oh yeah, right. It was automatic bone orientation. Yeah, when we are doing all of these, we want automatic bone orientation. I never know if we want apply transform. Bake the space transform into the object data, which avoids getting unwanted rotations when tangent space is not aligned. In Blender, warning, experimental option, use it on, oh, it's phase experiment, never mind, that's fine. And I don't, yeah, ignore the last bone on the end of the chain. Use to mark the length of the previous bone. So I had this enabled last time with my characters, and I screwed everything up. Forced connect children. Forced connection of children to the bone parent, even if their computed tail positions don't match. Useful for pure, no, none of that should matter. So just automatic bone orientation, pre-post, and yep, this should now bring them in. What? Bring this in, but what is this from the floor? Maybe, hang on. Import FBX super armature automatic bone orientation pre-post. Okay. I don't know what these empties are. Let's say mail. Work in progress. One below, we're doing the thing. We're not going to worry about any of the materials. We're going to leave the materials alone. Oh, except now Blender has the stupid naming convention added to them because I duplicated them in a few times. Isn't FBX standard to have leaf bones? I think so. When I imported my main characters, I don't know if I just didn't know what I was doing, but I ended up messing up the head bone the first time I did it. And it messed everything up. It was annoying. Yeah, let's delete everything again. Let's do nail. Nail v2. And we'll clean it up by purging unused data, get rid of all the old materials. Okay, it's gone. I'm just gonna re-import them again. All parts together. I don't know what the hell is going on with that rig. 2 bones pointing out from the wrist. Could mean it isn't. By default, if you don't pick, if you don't actually pick fixed bone orientation, let me just show you. This is every Unreal model. So if you leave it alone and you just import a model, this is what you get. And this is very common when you look up YouTube. I don't know why, right? I just literally like just the FBX, you know, right from the artist, ready to go. You bring it in the Blender, and it's completely. There was a bunch of options that are no longer needed, I don't think, in Blender 4. There was more steps, I remember, to getting it working. Is the XYZ difference? I think so. I think that's exactly the what it is, in why their orientation is facing. Because the assumption would be that they'd be facing up in general by default. So, you know, it'd be... that's kind of what happens when you mess with it. Just as an example. But all the other bones are fine, but all of them are, you know, kind of messed up. The only way of fixing it... And that's what everything... If you get any random armature designed for Unreal, or even like the ones, like the FBX variants to be used for Unity... but mostly, like whenever I've been using Quane's work in FBX format. It's exactly the same way with my other characters when they come in. And it's been annoying to get it to where I want it to be with the Mixamo animations, but I kind of understand. Like I kind of know now what I need to do to get them to work. So I got Xbot and Ybot already brought in and working. So it's Xbot and Ybot. Because I know that, you know, Mixamo itself is targeting, obviously, like this, you know, rig. Like this is what Mixamo considers to be the perfect T-pose. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the other armature. You know, we're going to bring in the Xbot or Ybot armature. We're going to set up our data transfer or armature modifier, and we're going to just pretty much retarget you know, the old armature to the new armature, and then hopefully everything will just work. But I don't really know. Like maybe the naming convention has to be the same first. Maybe, like, you know, I'm assuming it does, and like things won't be exact. You know, worst case scenario, when I get the character you know, brought in, I literally just use this as a reference, and we just pose them, you know, to match you know, all of this kind of just manually. And then once we have the everything working, we duplicate the armature and then do the same thing, like set up the modifiers, and, you know, hopefully that'll put them, you know, into a T pose from their original A pose, and then it'll just work perfectly when I import it into Godot. Because we know all Mixamo animations target this, and everything that I have for the most part is Mixamo animations. So that's why even when I'm remapping, when I bring them in, when I bring my A pose characters into Godot, even with fixed silhouette, the difference of angle of you know, like the bone here, you know, being, you know, 45. Or you can tell because all the animations look perfectly smooth for head, you know, everything. But the hands are behind their back, right? So the hands are like, you know, you can tell that they're offset by 45 degrees. So, you know, what I want to try to figure out is, hey, can we make a Mixamo rig in Blender that go away keyframe? Can we make a Mixamo rig in Blender and already have it renamed through the Godot's remapper naming convention, and get it like exported as a you know, as a GLTF that we can reference whenever we want to retarget a Mixamo animation. So we literally have a Mixamo animation, you know, or Mixamo T-pose fully renamed, because when you do retargeting and you use a reference for retargeting, it uses that reference as bone names. So you can re-import a Mixamo animation set, you know, set the animation mapper to be whatever, but then, you know, the animations themselves need to match those names. Like you can't use the bone remapper if you're going to be using an existing skeleton. It uses the existing skeleton's naming convention when re-importing. So that's my thought process is to make a Mixamo rig that is already kind of set up with the correct renaming of Godot's importer. Put it in the project as a reference. But then we have I have a reference of my character in A pose and a reference of the target Mixamo rig in T pose by like importing a Mixamo animation, you know, targeting to my, you know, my own A pose character. With reference, like I should be able to get it all. I should be able to fix the workflow issues that I'm having where the animations are not they're not working exactly. And then ultimately we'll have a bit more to work with. Right, so that's my process, or my thought process with this stuff. Right, like I know Godot, and unless all the animations were already targeted specifically for my player, which Godot is not going to help me, you know. I either do all the animations in Blender or I get this retargeting system working more effectively. So there'll be custom normals, transform, no apply transform, scale of 1. I don't think the manual override needs to be enabled. We do need automatic Y orientation. Because you could do -Z forward, Y up. I don't know if that's a default option. Yeah, it's hard to say, because then it would be like Z minus Y up would be, you know, kind of in Godot land by default. Yeah, let's go with it. See what we get. Right, so now when we import them, you know, I think things are kind of good. I want to make sure the material slot names are correct, which they now are. Right, so these are now fine. And then that just brings me then, like, because all of these things are already weighed, and we don't want to have to re-weigh them. But I can probably get rid of these IK points. Oh no, it's just still doing it. Weird. Okay, hang on. I was getting that issue before when I brought them in. We apply all transforms. What? I don't know why this is. This is what it did before I brought them in. Interesting. I wonder is that when I okay, so let's do that again, fresh. And I'm gonna not import. Yeah, I wonder if that was manual orientation triggering that. So no manual orientation. Just automatic bones, that's it. And then I hit import. We select everything. Everything should be selected by default. Why? All transforms. Nope. Why? Right, and the female works fine. I don't know why the pose. Yeah, this is what I was doing before. I wonder, is it the FBX itself being weird? Or is it just like an import setting? And this is literally just from, you know, the download. Right, we import the FBX. Yeah, it might be apply transforms. Make space transforms into object data. Avoids getting unwanted rotations when tangent space is not aligned. But warning is experimental. Use at own risk. Known to be broken with armature animation. I mean, if the model is not going to import anyway, right? It should just be automatic. Okay, so it's not when I was originally working on this. It's not just yeah, this asset was doing this before. Yeah, volume scale messes it up. Right, visual transform doesn't work. And the scale is not right. Just checked how bone mat works in Godot. You want to do, oof, do you want to, what? Avoid that shit? Well, you know. Yeah, I think this is not necessarily a me problem. I realized that this is actually not importing at all. Like, normally, even though, like, in port normals, I'm gonna try that apply transformation option. Right, automatic bone orientation, armature, D forward, Y up. Use pre-post rotation from FBX. You may have to disable in some cases. Maybe it's this thing. We won't apply rotation and we won't use the pre-post rotation. Halo 1. Hey, okay, wait, no. I was like, that'll work. He's just rotated 90 degrees. No, he's not. Okay, that's a no-go either. It won't matter if I'm going to retarget him. It's like I could just bring in his mesh, you know what I mean? It's just heal him back down, and but then I don't have an armature. The female, oddly enough, just works fine. Like, like it's so weird that if I import the female version. Oh, not without those options though. How do I default this? Yeah, even with it's so weird. Like I fixed this one before manually, the female character. So that's not the option either. Yeah, it's really just FBX imports that are being a pain. It's not even getting it. Yeah, but it is Adobe after all. Yeah, right. So when I bring in the female, and I hit A, Control A to apply it. Right? Wasn't Control A work? Okay. Boom. Works. Right. So I bring them in, apply all transforms. Female works fine. And they've been messing with the FBX file format. Yeah. So like this would work, right? And other than like the breastbone bones like facing the wrong direction, you know, this has been pretty straightforward. So what I did before with the female is I kind of went through and as an example, like got them all, you know, working again, because I do have the female working. And then I went into my root armature here, turned this on. The issue is that it's working with other art. You know what I mean? It's like why doesn't the other one work? So view armature in front. Right. So what I did was I ended up having to flip these. Ultimately, and then these here, I just you know, did not that one, this one. Right, so I brought these back to 45. And there was a little bit of jank needed to kind of get the pose correct, but I went through and spent the time before. Yeah, 'cause we don't need like these IK bones. And after a while, I got everything all working, and especially with the double constraints. Like there's two, like the artist in this case is using 2 bones in the hierarchy to make twist constraints look a bit better. So when you're remapping, we just use them like the road, like the main primary bone, and not the other bone that the skins themselves are weighted to. So that way, like it helps with the shoulders and the whatnot. And all these are custom for the hair. So like I went through this and cleaned it up before, and kind of deleted all the like nonsense foot IK, and just kind of got everything working the way that I wanted it, and brought in the Godot, animated, character's fine. So the female's fine. Right, other than the fact that I've had to kind of do the individual origins of a lot of this stuff, and and kind of just go ahead and fix a lot of these up. But a lot of this is actually fine. But yeah, that was the the issue that I was having is why does the male not work? Like there's nothing different about the male character other than it having some rotational data baked into the FBX that's like causing its pose to be like dumb. Where like all weights and all items are fine. Yeah, because there was some shape keys. It was something I had to get rid of. It might have been breast or something. There might have been on the body. Yeah, because there is a vertex. Yeah, here, right? So the artist, this here, if I could zoom in, is kind of like the killer. There's a basis shape key, and then there's like breast size, butt size, knees, like just kind of like blend shapes on for body modification. And when you do the transfer from one armature to another, there's like the shape keys get weird. I don't know. It doesn't. Certain references were not working correctly. I remember there being something about having to clear a lot of the body shape keys to get things to kind of transfer. But that's like the issue, because like until to use a Mixamo animation on a non-Mixamo rig, right? We pretty much have to make sure that for like Xbox, that we're actually using right, because even this character, that's the other issue, is like the default yeah. So just this difference, right, offsets all the animations. Obviously Xbox a bit bigger, but this is almost kind of close enough, but like this is kind of like where it gets weird, because you really have to kind of go through and get this character in a completely exact T-pose if you want the Mixamo animations to be perfect. You maybe do a bit of Googling and it ran into this, and now I have to check it out. free character animations. Some guy took 2,000 mocaps, ran it through the script. Let me take a look at that. You know, because I ultimately, like, I have to solve this, right? And the solving it, and I paid someone on Fiverr to do this for one model, but I don't really think they're taking the time. Like, if all bones, right, ignoring hair, like, let's ignore hair and, you know, additive bones added for the sake of, you know, weight painting. There's got to be an easy way of copying one armature to another systemically, like, just like literally, like, I should better write a Python script, and if these armatures are like the same by bone configuration, I should better make them be the other bone, you know, right? It's just that there's a, you know, because even differences between the fact that on the artist side there's an extra, you know, bone in the legs, right, for twist constraints, right? For the twist of the clothing and stuff like that. Bone constraints, copy rotation from Xbone. Bone constraint, copy bone rotation on Xbone. Oh. They mean like rig up all the bones to reference their target bones and just kind of apply it? Thanks for the follow, Passive. Because, like, I have the whole evening to do this. I might do some of this off stream. I don't know. Like, I need to figure out like a. Then when done, yeah, that might be the apply it as rest pose. Because once the other armature is there, I can add the armature modifier. We can apply the armature modifier from the other one, and that's how I got it working in the first place. The only thing I hate is that even when I did this the first time around, I didn't do the fingers. I literally still left a lot of curvature. And what that curvature means, because one of the things I wanted to do in the game is have that open and close, you know, reference pose. I have another pose that is just T pose with hands open and close. So I can grab the arm down and have two animation states just for arm override, just for like the arm up for IK. And right, and then it would all be fine. But I need to make sure that I have really good, like, a reference rig. And then the other alternative is like, well, you know, I wouldn't need to worry about this if I was just bringing in the animations into Blender itself. But then you know what I mean? Like, it's still nice to have a reference rig kind of defined where I can use it. Like the Godot's bone retargeting system gotta work, but it hasn't, like, you know, just oh no, I unpacked the animations. Like, what are they all targeted to? Like, what's the default, the reference pose of the... They're all named like 50. Let me get up general email here. I'm gonna go grab that. How big is that? Gotta bring them in. Yeah, let me. Oh, dude, I downloaded all of these. I had all of these. By the way, this website's cancer. I downloaded the whole library of these before, but they were they weren't in any form of FBX, and I hate how they have like just a library. But you know what? Yeah, they're mocap, annoying to work with. Still, I mean, these could be good in Blender. Like, once the rig is in Blender, and you know what I mean? Like, you can kind of go in and kind of flip them, crop them, kind of blend them. So yeah, so these are all from here. I converted them to GLTF format and from BVH. Yeah, I see. I had originally did the same thing. I got them from cgspeed.com. They're in BBH. So he used AutoRig Pro. The model was made by vendors. Animations are free to use. Just don't sell them as animations. This is awesome. So I just want V1 in GLTF. And then, because I don't care about the FBX. Yeah, he does heavy lifting. Yeah, because if I can get those in GLTF, that'd be way easier to work with in Blender. What's the Blender? What do you use? Rig tools. Auto rig resets. Auto rig data. Oh, it's the character itself. Oh, okay, cool. So they've actually created a test rig for the purpose of. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like not. It's not like the most perfect model or anything, but it's cool that it. Okay, so this is, yeah, for look. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, this is this is actually not a bad little rig. I grabbed the animations only. In what format though? Did you grab the? Yeah, this is awesome. I'm glad you looked into this. Animations only GLTF. Too bad he didn't rename them though, hey? That's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of work, man. It's gonna be a lot of work redoing the every single bone. I'm curious because we looked through this library before, but I remember it being a nightmare to set up in Blender. You know, send this to somebody. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Yep, so we need to put these to projects, Unforgiven space. I'm going to create an animation slide because I don't want to put them in with my assets yet. Do they have a file? Or do what? So each below, you converted them from BBH. Source modeled from. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, I guess we don't really have. Yeah, I almost wonder what it's like to bring these into Godot. Oh, so these are just ones that were optionally used. And different characters and 24 animations. Each are divided into 4 models that can be swapped out. I have seen that model before. Those are actually really nice. I grab these as well for playing around. So yeah, the humanoid rig. So there's a humans that blend. Yeah, I'm curious to see what some of the defaults. Again, we'll do the same for the females. Alright, so the T-poses are good. But is Auto Rig Pro? Retarget. But I own Auto Rig Pro. I just have to go and download it again. And what? Because I wonder if it does. I think so.
This video is about the retargeting features of AutoRig.
Well, there are retargeting
AutoRig Pro is
features.
a paid add-on, so if you don't already
I'm gonna just
own it,
see.
you probably want to know, is it worth it? Is it worth the $40 that you have to spend on it? The short answer, of course, is it depends. It depends on your needs, financial situation, and so on. But overall, it is a great
And the
add-on
eye is coming
with
in,
a lot
right?
of
Alright, let me
features
turn off
that
the music
simplify
real quick.
most areas of the rigging process. It's intuitive, it's robust, so in my humble opinion, it's easily worth the $40. If you go to the Blender market and take a look at the products. So first, let's try to retarget a mocap action to a standard AutoRig Pro humanoid rig. In many ways, this is probably the easiest retargeting task that you can do with AutoRig Pro. So here I have an unrigged character in the T-pose, and I'm going to quickly rig it with the AutoRig Pro Smart features. So go to AutoRig Pro,
I want to see if
Smart,
there's any way we can
select my
speed this
character,
up.
get selected objects. I'm going to go for full body, and here add neck, add chin, add shoulders, add wrist, spine root, ankles, and I'll skip the fingers because my mocap data doesn't have any fingers anyway. Face setup I'm definitely not doing, and I'll simply press go. I'll take a quick look at this meta rig and see if I need to adjust anything. It looks fairly good. Okay, and then maybe I want to fully get rid of these fingers, and the correct way to do this with AutoRig Pro is to select your arm and go to AutoRig Pro limb options and just deselect all of these fingers options, and they'll disappear, and same on the other side. And then I'll match the rig, go to the skin section, select my character, shift select my rig, and for engine I like voxelized, and with these settings I'll just click bind. I'll wait a couple of seconds, but I really like the results that this binding algorithm produces. It's quite a bit better than Blender's automatic weights. So let's go to pose mode, and here my character is already deforming. And pay attention to the fact that both arms and legs are in IK mode by default. AutoRig Pro has tools to change from IK to FK at any point. They are in the tool rig main properties settings, so here I can switch my leg from IK to FK, and same for the arm. So I'll keep the default IK settings and reset all pose. And now let's go back to the AutoRig Pro tab and focus on the actual retargeting, or remap as it is called in AutoRig Pro. As in other similar retargeting systems, you first need to set your source armature and then your target armature. The source is my mocap rig. Mocap is simply the name I've given to this rig. It can be called armature or source or whatever name you gave to your armature. The target rig will be the rig generated by AutoRig Pro. By default, AutoRig Pro calls it rig, so let's select that. And then we get this auto scale button, which you should press. This will adjust the scale of the source rig, and I'll explain why we do that later in the video. Next, we need to build our bone lists. And here's the great thing about using this standard.
Cool. So this automatically did Mixamo bindings to Rigify bindings. So that's cool. So maybe we should be looking into AutoRig and see if AutoRig will also do it as well.
Humanoid rig in AutoRig Pro with the retargeting settings of the same add-on. Because the features work together nicely, everything is almost set up for us. If I click retarget now, I'll get a little error that says the root bone must be marked first. So what is the root bone? In the source armature, the root is this bone, the hips, that controls all of the other bones. And in AutoRig Pro, it is this bone, the root master. And here is the root master in the bone list. So I need to enable set as root for this bone. Again, this is the quick and easy version of using these features. I'll explain them in more detail later. And now if I press retarget, I'll get this menu, and I just need to press OK. And my action will be retargeted. It's all looking good. If we go to pose mode, one thing that you'll notice is that the arms and legs are now switched to FK. So AutoRig Pro understood that it should retarget to the FK controls of its own rig, and it automatically switched to FK. Very nice workflow. And now actually, if we go to mapping presets and click this triangle here and choose Miximo IK, we'll get a bunch of warnings, but don't worry about this. It is just because this source rig that I got from Miximo is missing the finger bones, but that won't be a problem
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
retargeting
that makes
workflow.
sense.
And now if I click retarget again, you'll see that we have the same motion, but now in pose mode, the legs and arms are actually in IK mode.
Cool.
And that is very nice. Having these limbs in IK mode can be very useful for cleaning up and editing this action. So once you have everything set up, you can go to your source rig, and here I'll switch to Dope Sheet Action Editor, and I have a bunch of other actions that I can use with this source rig. For example, a kick. I'll auto scale it again and simply press retarget. Okay. And now my character will be kicking. And all of these retargeted actions will be in the scene. AutoRig Pro takes the original name of the action and adds remap to it. So here in the action list, I can just type remap and I'll find all of the actions that I have retargeted. So if you want to keep these actions, you should actually press this shield icon here. Okay, then I can switch to my dance action. Save it as well. And now both actions will be saved with this file. So these are the basics of retargeting.
Okay, so I think I am going to go play around with AutoRig Pro and get it working.
Features. If
I think that's going to automatically fix a lot of the... because I can do the same thing with just T-pose, just not even animation, just a pose, bring the pose in, retarget the pose. It should work, hopefully. And then kind of fix things up. Oh, look at this, T-pose to an AP. So yeah, let me just take, so let's do, yeah, so retargeting.
This example that I have is probably the simplest form of retargeting that we can do, and that is retargeting to an FK rig. Meaning that this character is rigged with a very simple rig in which each bone is parented to another bone, and there are no complex relationships between these bones. There are no constraints, no IK, nothing. And also the character by default is in the T-pose, and that is the simplest example because the source armature is also an FK rig, and its rest position is also a T-pose. About 99% of all motion capture data that you'll find has a T-pose as a rest pose targeting. So first I'm going to change my target armature to the FK A pose
retargeting, because we should be able to do this in reverse.
To the correct rig, and click auto scale, and again build bone list. And again, AutoRig Pro will reset all of these names. But now, because this rig has identical names to the previous one, the only difference between them is the default pose, but the names are the same. I can go down here, click import, find my FK preset, choose it, and there we go. All of our bone pairs are set up for us. And that is not just the names. If I click on hips, you'll see that it is already set as root. So all of these additional options are also exported and imported with these mapping presets. So as far as this is concerned, I'm ready to retarget. So let's give it a try. I'll click retarget and press OK. And my dancing motion was...
Hey, so this is the issue that I have right now in Godot. When I'm using the auto targeting from an A pose into Godot, I actually have this animation, this Miximo rumba dance. It's actually like in the character.
Was retargeted, but you can clearly see that the arms are behaving incorrectly. And that has to do with the difference in rest pose.
Yep.
The source armature is in T pose, the target armature is in A pose, so that difference between the initial pose remains throughout the whole retargeted motion. So let's undo and see what we can do about this. I'll select my source rig, or actually I don't really have to select it, and scroll down in the mapping area of AutoRig Pro. And down here we have the redefine rest pose button. But before I click it, I'm going to make a duplicate of this armature that I have. Just Shift D and move it to the side, and you'll see why in a second. So now I'm going to click the Redefine Rest Pose button. And here you'll get two options, Rest Pose and Current Pose. And this confused me a little bit at first, and that is maybe because the first retargeting tool that I used was Rococo, which has similar options, but they work differently here. Basically, choosing between Rest Pose and Current Pose before you press OK simply defines whether AutoRig Pro will set your armature in the default pose, in the rest pose, or if you want to leave this current pose that you have right here. So in most cases, you're going to want to go to the rest pose and edit that. So I'll press OK. And here I have the source armature in its default T pose, and I want to change it to more of an A pose like my target rig. So the cool thing about AutoRig Pro is that it has tools to automate this process. I can simply select any bone that I want to match to the target rig and press copy selected bones rotations. So in theory, I can select all bones and press copy selected bones rotations, and that will change all of the bones in a pose that is more like the one from the target rig. But I find that that's not really necessary. So I'm going to undo Ctrl Z, and I'm simply going to select my upper arms and use this feature.
Oh.
For some reason, I'm finding out that the rest of the bones are not so problematic, but the arms really need to be matched correctly. But if you're not happy with your retargeting results, you can go back to this part of the process and try to match other bones and see if that gives you better results. So once you're happy with the pose, you have to press the apply button. And it's important to understand what this does. This actually sets a completely new rest pose for this armature. And that is a little bit problematic if you have more than one action. I'll switch back to pose position, and let's find another action that I have for this rig. The jumping jacks show the problem clearly, so I'll switch to it. And let's switch this armature as well, which is still in T-pose, to jumping jacks, and scrub through, and you'll see that when the arms are down in this armature, which shows the correct action, the arms point downwards. And with this armature, which we edited with the AutoRig Pro tools, the arms will be clipping into the body, and that's not nice. So I'm going to undo. And so that's a problem that I find with the system. When you change the rest pose with these tools, it fixes the active action, so my dancing action will be all right, even though the pose was changed, but all other actions that I had for this armature will not work. So always keep a copy of this armature if you have more than one action, and I really wish there was a better workflow in this area, and I'm going to ask.
See, this is why I think getting them into a T pose and like literally in this case we're going through and we're taking everything that was from an A pose, moving it to an A pose so it can be animated. And I want to do the opposite so that we ultimately end up with a T pose version of the character so that any mixed model animations in future work without having to like convert it to an A pose. So like, because this is kind of the issue, like what he's explaining.
The creator of AutoRig Pro, if there is, maybe I'm missing something, and if there is, I'm going to let you know about it with an annotation, or I'll make another segment in this video. But anyway, now that I have the rest pose fixed, I can retarget and the arms will behave correctly.
Hey, Jessica.
Now I'm seeing a little bit
We're
of
doing
problem
animation
here.
stuff today.
The fingers are flipped and the target motion seems to be floating a little bit above the ground. So I think this has to do with the scale. Auto scale does a good job, but it's not perfect. So I'm going to scale this source armature up a little bit and retarget again. And now the toe problem is fixed. And there is a little bit less of a floating. If you followed along until now, then good work. By now you should know some of the most important basics of using AutoRig Pro for retargeting to any rig. So in the next step, we're going to up the difficulty a little bit, and we are going to retarget to a rigify rig. I've seen single bone and start building the armature that I need. The mapping presets here.
This is
And of course, the
amazing.
problem with these presets is that they're limited to Mixamo and Rococo for IK. So I really want to show you how we can do this. In the auto poll option, I think it works only if you have actual poll targets enabled in here in this field. And according to the manual, if enabled, the IK poll will move like it's parented to the IK target bone, for example, the foot bone. And honestly, I'm not sure what that means. I wish the manual would say in what cases that is useful. But who knows, maybe it makes sense to you and you'll find it useful. And finally, there is the location option. And again, it's not an option that you'll see that this allows you to tweak the rotation and location necessarily humanoid, whereas a source armature is generally quite humanoid. And so to save some time, I have already matched the bones. I think we did the matching process quite a lot, so it should be second nature to you by now. And now I'll auto scale, which I've already done. And now something very important is the rest position of these rigs. The source rig is obviously in T-pose, whereas the dinosaur has a completely different pose. So let's try to really find the rest pose. I'll start from the rest pose, press OK, and now just to see what happens,
The pole moving with the bone is good.
Copy selected.
Yeah, I've been looking through that. This is great. I need to. I got to go into like CG Trader or Blender Marketplace, and the IK node in Godot has a magnet instead of the pole, and then that is a fixed point.
Armature assume this pose of the dinosaur, and let's apply and see what happens if we did retarget this action, which is a walk cycle. Retarget, okay, and you'll see that my dinosaur is kind of walking upright, a bit like a human. And that's interesting, but it's definitely not what we want, so let's undo. And I'll undo before I apply this new rest pose. So let's cancel this now and try to really find the rest pose again. And this time I'll just select the arms and click copy selected bone rotations, apply, retarget.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And now I get something that is much closer to what I imagined, which is the dinosaur keeping its natural pose but still appearing to walk. Please click like, subscribe, and
yeah, that's great.
see you in the next video.
This. Let me copy that for myself in the Discord. Yeah, so because that's the issue, right? Is how do we get right the character? Because I have game rig tools, but I don't have. Yeah, I don't think I have Auto Rig Pro installed. Let me log in. Let me get some music going. Please choose pictures of cars. You might want to have a separate blender with the rigging stuff installed. Why? Just like make it easier? Can you even do that? The amount of stuff I have from this thing, I've gotten so much stuff from here. I thought it was in this one. 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 I thought it Auto baking tool. I need to look and find it. Oh, doesn't. Okay, I gotcha. Rust. Would I got that from Gumroad? Did go to downloads. Multi-IK. What was the last version I have? Rig Pro. 3.72. What is the latest version? Latest version. Four point two. Rig tool. So I should have. Auto Rig Pro. So I have 3.72. Version. Does it say what version it's on? Blender version. Mm-hmm. 3.72. 15. Oh, okay. So there's a couple of new features. No, there's not. 29. All right, so I'm a little bit behind on the version that I have. Version 4.2 extensive expansion compatibility. I'm gonna grab this one. You imported all the animations from the pack in the Blender. Will it survive? We'll find out. I'm trying some music. Still loading? Oh god. Like, so you just imported all of them? Like every one of them? You're past 6 gigs? That's crazy. Oh. Yeah, see, that's so much better than having to do the other one. Other method of like copying the armature and like reposing it.
Any keyframe you have here, then the armature and the mesh, and press Ctrl A, pose as the default ammo in T pose. But if you select the rest position, you can see that is in A pose. So to set this T pose as the default rest pose, first of all, you select the armature, delete any keyframe you have here. Then we want to select the armature and the mesh and press Ctrl A to apply all transforms. Now by pressing the numpad period key, it will take us to where the object is. The next thing we are going to do is come to the mesh, go to your modifiers and apply. And then we select the armature, we go into the pose mode, make sure everything is selected. You can press A, go to your pose, and then apply pose as rest pose. Next thing you want to do,
but slow down. There we go. You got it. You just wait like 10 gigs of RAM just to load in all the animations. Yeah, this is the other way that worked, but isn't working for the other character.
is go back to your object mode, select the mesh, select the armature, Ctrl P with automatic weight.
Yeah, because they're like re-weighting it. We don't have to do that. That happened. We're gonna get auto wig pro. Yeah, because I am behind by a little bit. Yeah, it was only like 26. Do they work though? Like, are they working? Almost using half your RAM now? That's what I'm curious. I'm curious to see how they work. Let me know. I think I'm going to take a break here in a bit and get supper. And then, because I'm pretty sure Auto Rig Pro is going to have no issues retargeting this. And if I can get this working. Because I know like one of the things Auto Rig Pro does is create these extra joints for twist constraints. That'll be great. Pro, I spawned a few around, but not being named makes it best. You spun a few around? Oh, they're so they are working. Land use Blender for like this 3D printer. Nice. Yeah, it says the. I don't know if you've seen this, the project I'm working on, or at least what it does in its current. This is the test project. What we're working on now is getting the main characters, you know, like into the build with all my actual, you know, weapons and components. But the idea is you kind of have spaceships, like being in Star Wars. You know, you're buying and selling cargo. You can kind of like run around planets. But you're spawning in cargo, grabbing it, throwing it on the ship, bringing it from point A to point B. The unpacked sizes are 1.8 gigs. Wow. How much overhead can it be? Right? Yeah, I'm so glad I fixed up this whole... Right, so yeah, we're just doing like cargo missions where you gotta pick up and drop off the cargo. Blender's now taking up 14 gigs. I'm so used to the yeah, I wanted to do like an on-screen message system. Finding the old chip. Yeah, it's gonna be good once I get the mail in. I have a feeling it's the import. There's something weird about the location. Like the default rotation of the mail character in the blend files or in the FBX. I need to figure it out and fix that bug. And still loading? Oh god, the missile. I gotta fix those missiles, man. I had an option in settings to turn off the missile camera. Makes me super happy. But anyway, I think I'm gonna go get food, and then after I eat, I'll come back and I'll go through the Auto Rig Pro stuff, get it updated. See if I can learn enough to do some tutorials. I really believe that's gonna be the solution. I think if we can, on the Blender side, get all the bones renamed, you know, to the correct armature of Godot in the T pose that Godot expects, then we won't have to worry about fixed silhouette. We can just import any animations, and then any future animations, like Mixamo animations we want to use, just use that, you know, our reference model. So we'll have our imported GLTF with all the bones and everything. Use that as a reference. It should be met and, you know, kind of fix itself or like retarget to the character, and hopefully it'll all work. But I'm going to end it, and thank you guys for tuning in. That's pretty short, normal stream, but I really had to spend the time to go through it and figure it out now that I have the character stuff working. Because this is pretty much the last thing. I fixed this bungalow. Let me show you. This is the ignore the fact that these don't open completely yet, as far as like being pivoted. You're starting to think it was a mistake, but these are the new landing gear. Ignoring the floatingness. Like obviously these would be like the shocks would be you know, kind of separated or whatever. But so this is kind of like how they you know, like how they function. This is a little bit better, right? So they'll just flip out, and then the landing gear will come down. And there's lots of room for them in the side compartment, you know, so they're not you know, visible. And ideally, when you're not working on the ship, because the goal of this was to get the you know, the ship components kind of at eye level, so we can crouch and kind of pull them all out while we're on surface. But ideally, they should just extend. You know what I mean? Just open up and extend just enough to level the ship when we're opening the cargo. So I'm pretty happy with the. You know, it's kind of bulky enough, and these themselves, they're not, you know, like great, but you know, I do have a, you know, kind of a little bit of a pivot, a bit of a shock absorber, and so it's a good enough solution, you know, for the time being, I think. Just so I can actually get the ship you know, like kind of functional for this quarter. And so all of this on the inside is now like kind of fleshed out. There's no gaps. So now taking out the components and stuff should be a little bit, it's a little bit cleaner, you know. All I'm gonna do is have like the pipes disappear whenever the component gets detached. So like if there's no you know, you pop out the second you pop out the cooler, the cables disappear, they get detached. All right, so you kind of like, you know, you have to have these popped out, but take out the power plant. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to toggle off my visibility, and it works. Also, how I like all internals but not visible. Yeah. Right, like, but like the second the door is considered closed, gone. You know what I mean? Like the door state of the I don't even know where that is. There's a panel here somewhere. Then none of it needs to exist, and I think this worked out. You know, all right. It's good enough. You know, there's definitely lots of room to. You know, like get things in and out. Right, it's because I do want to have another. I probably won't even. I might actually use. I want one more access panel to hook up for like fueling. But that very well might be in. I might extend these a little bit and kind of put it all in one system. We'll see. You're about to break. I don't even have 40 gigs of RAM. You know what I mean? I'm still rocking 32. I've been wanting to upgrade my system to 64 for a while. But I'm happy with this. I think all this is the cleanup I've been doing with the asset. Like all the top gear, I went through and cleaned up a lot of this and the armature, and I added in a little bit of structure here to kind of clip intentionally through the front. I'm gonna add a wire and an exposed wire here along the underside into the side of the ship. I went with 64 as my last upgrade. Alrighty, I'm gonna go and end it here on the socials. I'm gonna go raid someone, and I'm gonna grab some food, and then afterwards I'm gonna spend a bunch of time slaving over AutoRig Pro. Wednesday we're gonna get the ship in. So Wednesday, my plan is for Wednesday. We have this ship now updated on the main project, and so I can actually showcase all the component swapping. And then if everything goes well, I would like to have the male character working, by the weekend. And then then I'm left with like figuring out why my asteroid system is missing. I can't find any of the code for it. I never finished porting it, and I can't find the there's none of the original GD script code. It makes no sense. But yeah, let me end it here on the socials, and we'll be back after that.